Gillette, makers of new Track 2 twin injector blades for the best injector shave of your life. And just a gorgeous day here in Oakland, California. A bright, sunshiny afternoon, temperature in the 70s, and a slight breeze blowing out from home plate to center field. The weatherman says we're going to have good weather for Game 2 also tomorrow. Hi, everybody. I'm Curt Gowdy, and on behalf of NBC Sports, welcome to the World Series. And will the real New York Mets stand up for the '73 World Series? I don't mean the team that struggled most of the year and finally won their division just 3 games over 500. I mean the team that won 20 of their last 28 games and then outpitched and out-hit the Cincinnati Reds for the National League champs. They're healthy. That's the team. The Oakland A's are the defending world champs. They have been made the favorites to win this series, but they think they're going to have an intense struggle in beating the Mets. 2 left-handers today. John Matlack, a brilliant young left-hander, on the mound for the New York Mets. Ken Holtzman for the Oakland A's. And 2 players will be starting in center field who didn't think they'd be there for the opening of the series. Willie Mays for the New York Mets. Reggie Jackson in center field today for the Oakland A's. Speaking of the A's, a man who's seen every A's game the last 12 years, been an outstanding broadcaster for them. Monty Moore is our colleague here. Monty, let me ask you something. Is this Oakland team this season better than the team that won the world title last year?
Curt, we think it is for several reasons. Number one, Reggie Jackson is here today. He wasn't in the World Series last year, and he led the league in home runs and RBIs. Ray Fosse is better behind the plate. We are better defensively as a catcher. And this year we have a better bullpen, even with Raleigh Fingers as good as he was last year. And Vida Blue is here as a starter this year. So, yes, I think we're better.
All right, how about, this is your home park. How about taking the fans of America and showing us some of the highlights of the Oakland Coliseum for baseball?
Okay, Curt, this park is very normal as far as distances go for home runs, so there are no consequential dimensions there. But in left field, and we will talk about it more later, that's the sun field here for afternoon ball games this time of year, and the ball carries very well out that way, so we could see some home runs hit there in the day games here. Moving over to center field, we have a little visibility problem for batters. The last section of seats right before that white concrete section there gives the batters a little bit of trouble coming off the mound as the ball is obliterated somewhat by that light concrete and by the fans. The right field sector here at the Oakland Coliseum is normal in distance, again 330 feet, but there's one very important factor here as far as pitching goes. Between first base and the stands, it is a very large distance, maybe one of the longest in Major League Baseball for any park. And a lot of foul pops are caught over there that would be in the stands in other parks, such as Shea Stadium. So that is a factor also. In case they try to pick a runner off, they throw the ball away over there. It's 3 bases.
Tony Kubik, my colleague on the Saturday game of the week, Monday Night Baseball, will be with us here in the booth analyzing the plays. And right now, he's been down on the field before this game, and he taped interviews with the 2 field captains, Sal Bando of the Oakland A's, Bud Harrelson of the New York Mets.
Sal, you haven't seen each other as far as teams, I guess, on television, but not in spring training. What do you know about the A's, buddy?
Well, fortunately, Tony, we watched them in the World Series last year while we were at home, and they do have a few fellows that were in our league. That might be an advantage, but it might also be a disadvantage because they also know our pitching staff. And
Sal, what do you know about the Mets?
Well, like you say, other than TV, I think it goes back to 1969 in the World Series, and then what some of the national leaguers that are on our club have told them about it. But really, I've never seen them play except on TV.
All right, they make a big deal of scouting reports. You haven't had too much time to look at it because you guys just clinched 2 days ago or won it, and you won it about a day ago. What do you know about Buddy Harrelson? What do your scouting reports tell you?
Well, that, you know, he goes the opposite way, and don't let him beat you with the home run.
All right. Buddy, what about Sal?
he bunts a lot, and he's got good speed, and he's a poor defensive third baseman, so I hope the scouting reports are correct, otherwise we're in trouble.
They're right.
Bud Harrelson, Sal Bando, thanks a lot. Good luck during the World Series. You heard it right from the experts, the team leaders on this team. Those are the scouting reports. Let's go back upstairs.
I'll tell you, those are the scouting reports. We're going to have a wild World Series here, if they're that accurate. All right, we're ready down on the field now. We're going to have the introduction of the players of the Mets and the Oakland A's, and then we'll have the ceremonial first pitch. So let's join the activities down on the field here at the Oakland Coliseum.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum for the first game of the 1973 World Series. Here are the official lineups. First, the New York Mets. Here's the manager of the New York Mets, number 8, Yogi Berra. Batting first and playing third base, number 11, Wayne Garrett. Batting second and playing second base, number 16, Felix Millan. Batting third and playing center field, number 24, Willie Mays. Fourth and playing left field, number 21, Cleon Jones. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 28, John Milner. Batting sixth, the catcher, number 15, Jerry Grote. Batting seventh and playing right field, number 25, Don Hahn. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 3, Bud Harrelson. Batting ninth and pitching today, number 32, John Matlack, who's warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the New York Mets. Number 4, Rusty Staub. Number 5, Jim Beecham. Number 7, Ed Kranepool. Number 9, George Theodore. Number 10, warming up, Ron Matlack, Duffy Dyer. Number 12, Ken Boswell. Number 17, Teddy Martinez. Number 31, Harry Parker. Number 33, Ray Sadecki. Number 36, Jerry Kuzma. Number 38, Buzz Capra. Number 40, George Stone. Number 41, Tom Seaver. Number 42, Ron Hodges. Number 43, Jim McAndrew. And number 45, Tug McGraw. And the coaches, number 51, Roy McMillan. Number 52, Joe Pignatano. Number 53, Eddie Yost. And number 54, Rube Walker. And now for the defending world champion, Oakland A's. Here is the manager of the A's, Dick Williams. Batting first and playing shortstop, number 19, Campy Campaneris. Batting second and playing left field, number 26, Joe Rudy. Batting third and playing third base, number 6, the captain of the A's, Captain Sal Bando. Batting fourth and playing center field, number 9, Reggie Jackson. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 18, Gene Dennis. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 22, Jesus Alou. Batting seventh, the catcher, number 10, Ray Fosse. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 1, Dick Green. Batting ninth and pitching today for Oakland, number 30, Ken Holtzman, warming up in the bullpen. And warming up, Ken Holtzman, number 44, Vern Hoshite. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Oakland A's. Number 2, Angel Mangual. Number 4, Bill North. Number 7, Darren Johnson. Number 8, Manny Trio. Number 11, Ted Kubiak. Number 13, John Blumo Noda. Number 14, Vida Blue. Number 16, Billy Conigliaro. Number 17, Mike Andrews. Number 24, Alan Lewis. Number 25, Paul Lindblad. Number 27, Jim Catfish Hunter. Number 28, Horacio Pena. Number 32, Darrell Mold. Number 34, Raleigh Finger. Number 37, Vic Davalillo. And number 38, Pat Burke. And the coaches, number 41, Jerry Adair. Number 42, Wes Stock. And number 43, Irv Noren. Bearing the colors today is the United States Army Military Police Color Guard from the Presidio in San Francisco. For the opening game of the 1973 World Series, the national anthem will be sung by Jim Nabors. And now to honor America, let us all join in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We'll be back to the ceremonial first pitch of Game 1 of the 1973 World Series in just a moment.
We are honored this afternoon to have one of baseball's all-time greats throw out the first ball. His 713 home runs are just one behind the career record of Babe Ruth, the incomparable Henry Aaron.
Throwing out the first pitch like he does everything else without a flourish, just getting his job done year after year, game after game. And it seems strange, Monty, to see him behind the American League dugout today.
Yes, it really does, Kurt, and we were talking about this before the ball game, but Henry has been out here on the West Coast making some appearances, and I understand has some more to make real soon.
Well, we're delighted he could be here today to throw out the first pitch. It's only fitting for the drama he's brought to baseball this year. That's the Oakland dugout. They're taking the field. They get a roar. Six umpires assigned to the game. Behind the plate, Marty Springstead of the American League. The veteran is the first base umpire, Augie Donatelli of the National League. Gary Newdecker of the American League's working second base. Paul Pryor of the National League at third. Russ Getz of the American League down the left field line. And Harry Wendelstedt of the National League will be working the right field line. The first World Series for all three of the American League umpires. Kenneth Dale Holtzman, who pitched his best game of the series in the playoffs against Baltimore last Tuesday. 2-1 victory, 11 innings, allowing just 3 hits. Walked only 1. He had tremendous stuff and had his control. He struck out 7 in that game. The only run he allowed was a home run by Earl Williams. He had 10 days rest before that game, and he said he needed the rest. We'll take a look at him in slow motion so you can study the motion. Tony?
Against Baltimore, he threw primarily fastballs, I guess, of about 110 or 15 pitches he threw. He threw just 8 breaking pitches. I think it's going to be a surprise for this Mets team to see a different Kenny Holtzman than he remembered when he pitched for the Chicago Cubs.
He's had trouble with the New York Mets. His lifetime record while he was in the National League with the Cubs, 4 wins, 9 losses against the Mets. And he didn't beat them the last 2 years he was in the National League. The first batter of the 1973 World Series, the 70th World Series, by the way, is Wayne Garrett, who had a sizzling month of September to lead the Mets in the batting average for that month. But he's had a poor playoff with the bat. He had only 2 hits and 23 times up in the playoffs. His seasonal average was .256. They play him a couple of steps toward right. And the first pitch of the series is pop foul out of play. Garrett usually goes for the first pitch. I was about to warn you of that. He's a first ball hitting batter. Leon is on deck, and then Willie Mays. Garrett, born in Brooksville, Florida, lives in Sarasota, Florida. The fastball is a little low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Holtzman this year, 21 wins, 13 losses, a 19-game winner last year. Foul back. The A's traded him, sent Rick Mundy to the Cubs. Mundy's helped the Cubs, and Holtzman has certainly been a big aid to the Oakland A's. He attended the University of Illinois, receiving a B.S. degree in business in '67. Curveball is popped up. Sal Bando, the third baseman's there. And we have the first out of the series. Before Felix Leon steps in, I want to tell you that this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball, is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Felix Leon, according to some experts, the most underrated player in this World Series. He hit .290 for the season, and he hit .316 in the playoffs. Slaps the ball around, ball 1 to him. You'll notice how he chokes up on the bat. Extreme. Choking up with a hand. The ground ball hit sharply to Dick Green. Green over to first base, 2 down. coming up. Listen to the hand for him. Willie Mays. "42 years old, across the bay, cheered today by American League fans. There's a drive foul down the right field line. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. All right, we're back here in Oakland. Willie Mays for the regular season had a .211 average. Plagued with injuries now. He's already announced his retirement. He didn't expect to start or even play in this series. There's a foul out of play, strike 2. This is Willie's 4th World Series. He played for the Giants in 51, 54, and for San Francisco's Giants in 62. He came up as a pinch hitter against the Reds. He had 1 hit 3 times up in the playoffs. He has bad shoulders and knees now. But he's pressed into action today. Rusty Staub is not up to it. Staub tested his left shoulder, his right shoulder, right shoulder, I believe, and just too painful for Rusty Staub to play today. 2 down, nobody on. The Mets batting in the 1st inning. Fastball is low, 2-2 to Willie Mays. And how ironical, Monty, that Willie Mays is across the bay. If they came back here for game 6 or 7, could wind up his career in the Bay Area, but on the opposite side.
This will be the only game he's ever played here on this side of the bay.
The check swing to Mays, it's ball 3. His 22nd National League season. And Henry Aaron sitting over there in back of the American League dugout. He and Mays, of course, had their dramatic batting battles over the years. A 3-2 delivery. Mays hits a ground ball, a base hit into left field. Willie's on. Usually loses his cap in the outfield. He lost it when he left home plate. There's the first hit of the series, and Willie Mays gets it.
Kurt, one significant factor shown in that picture right there. In the 2 leagues, the National League players must wear a batting helmet batting, but on the base paths they don't have to. The American League runners have to wear the helmet on the base path.
Leon Jones, a disappointing first half of the season for the Mets. But how he got going in those last 28 games. Wound up with a .260 average, 11 homers, 48 RBIs. And he hit .300 in the playoffs. He can hit the ball to right center with power. That's where they're playing him. It's a strike. Reggie Jackson's in right center for him, and Jesus Alou is shading the right field line. They leave the open area in left center. Mays at first, 2 down. Willie stole only 1 base this year. There's a bounding ball sharply to the box. Holtzman throws him out and the side retires. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. The first half inning gone. It's 0-0. And there he is, Jonathan Trumpbauer Matlack, who pitched the greatest game of his life last Sunday, a 2-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds. 14 wins, 16 losses, the hardest throwing left-hander in the National League. He was Rookie of the Year in 1972. And every time a National League club or an American League club has talked trade with the Mets, of course they know they can't get Seaver. The man that is most sought after is Matlack.
Kurt, there was a scouting report that was not too accurate on John Matlack. When the A's met before this ballgame and yesterday, they said he does not have a good fastball. He's a breaking ball pitcher. Darren Johnson, a former National Leaguer, stood up and said, wait a second. He's about an inch behind fastball-wise Tom Seaver. He's got a good one.
Well, he struck out 205 batters in 210 innings, or 242 innings. He was up in the top 4. He finished 3rd in strikeouts in the National League. And here's Bert Campaneris leading off, who had 250 on the year, a strike to him, and had a hit in every one of the playoff games. The only player of the Baltimore and Oakland squads to do so. He was just super in the playoffs. Matlack delivers a curve. It's fouled away. Strike 2. On deck will be Joe Rudy. And then Sal Bando. This is a primarily right-handed hitting batting order for Oakland. Jackson's a left-handed hitter, and Holtzman. It seems strange to see that pitcher back in the number 9 spot in the American League. I want to talk about that in a minute. Campaneris pops it up out to Felix Millan. The Mets second baseman is one down. In interleague play, the designated batting rule is not in effect. We asked Dick Williams before the game, would it be a disadvantage to his team? He said no. Fair for one, fair for all. We have some good hitting pitchers. They've been practicing. Joe Rudi hit .270 for the year. Strep throat, he had all kinds of things happen to him. He was like some of the Met players who finally got healthy in the last part of the year. He was their most reliable player last year and had a great World Series. A curved strike to him. 0-1. We have no score. Last of the first inning, 1 out and nobody on for the defending world champs, the Oakland A's. Rudi had 12 homers this year, 66 RBIs. They play him just a shade to left. Matlack's inside. Ball 2.
Kurt, because he lost a lot of his power, he has changed his batting stance. He, last year, really closed up at the plate, but Sal Bando told him during a slumping period this year, you need to open up a little bit to get that power back, and he's done it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Joe Rudi. There's a drive into center field that is stabbed by Bud Harrelson. The outstanding little shortstop of the Mets, who has the range, the steady hands, and a good arm.
Ball not hit hard, hit off the end of the bat. I think Matlack pulled the string a little bit. Harrelson had a long way to go and just caught it like an ice cream cone in the webbing of his glove. That's where this team has improved so immensely with Millan, his steadiness. Harrelson coming off to the injured list.
Sal Bando, the captain of the A's, hit .288 for the year, 29 homers, 98 runs batted in. His best year. And he looks at a high curve, ball 1. Matlack is a fastball curveball pitcher. He doesn't have any freak deliveries. And good control for a young left-hander. Foul ball, 1-1. He averaged 3.7 walks per 9 innings this year. Not as good as last year when he averaged 2.6 walks every 9 innings. But he's not all over. He is fairly consistent. The 1-1 delivery to Bando with 2 down, nobody on. There's a fly ball out to left field on a changeup. Jones takes it, and the side's out. 1, 2, 3. At the end of the first inning, 0-0.
Kurt, we talked to John Miller, the hitter stepping in right now against Kenny Holtzman, about batting against Holtzman. He's never seen him before. Let's hear what he had to say.
Well, he's a left-hander. Now, they say he throw the ball real well. He was throwing it when he was in the National League, and I expect to look for some hard stuff in and maybe the breaking ball away. Say he changed speeds a lot. I don't know why. I don't think he'll turn it over to me, so I'll be mostly looking for the hard stuff in and breaking ball away.
And it's ball 1, strike 1 now. John Milner, Jerry Grote, Don Hahn for the Mets in the second inning. Milner didn't hit too much the last month. They call him the Hammer. He's from East Point, Georgia, born in Atlanta, Georgia. He's young. He's just 23 years old. He has that lively bat, though. The ball jumps off. He has good power. 23 homers. He should be a good one for the future for the Mets. There's a fly ball out into left center. Reggie Jackson's over there. And we have 1 down. The regular center fielder of the A's is Bill North, who had an outstanding season. Playing well defensively, stealing over 50 bases. He has a bad ankle, and he is not on the active list. And so with a left-hander going today, and Jesus Alou swinging a hot bat, they moved Jackson from right to center. This is the first time Jackson's played center field this year, right, Monty?
That's right, Kurt. And in spring training, he never was even in a game down there because we had 5 men fighting for that job, and they wanted to leave Reggie in right field.
And Alou's in right field. The batter is Grote, who hit .256 for the season with 1 homer, 32 RBIs, and they're playing him to right field. Jackson's over in right center, and Jesus Alou is in right, toward the line. Holtzman low, ball 2. Doesn't look quite as sharp to me, Monty, Holtzman, as he did last Tuesday against Baltimore.
That was one of his best days ever, and he was really built up for it. Kenny sometimes gets a little quicker later in the game, Kurt.
1 out, nobody on. We have no score in the second inning. There's a ground ball to the right side. Green up with it. Throws to Tennis. We have 2 down. The A's infield. Bandos at third. Campaneris at short. Green at second. Tennis playing first. Rudy's the left fielder. Jackson's the center fielder. And Jesus Salou the right fielder. Ray Fosse behind the plate. Don Hahn, born in San Francisco, lives in Campbell, California. .229 hitter. Not much with a bat, but a fine defensive player. Foul ball for strike 1. In the playoffs, though, he had 4 out of 17. Takes a big swing. Swings from the heels. Usually doesn't hit the long ball. They're playing him shallow and toward right. Interesting to see after the scouting reports where these outfielders play the batters. You try to go to right field with that, a strike 2. A lot depends on who's pitching. I remember when I was a youngster, I used to hear about that old white shirt sleeve crowd at Wrigley Field, Chicago. How tough it was in the batters. That's inside. Today, the hitters are looking into a shirt sleeve crowd as a background. This is our handheld camera, by the way. That's the background out there in the bleachers. The ball comes out of that background. Curve is strike 3, and Holtzman sails through the second. At the end of an inning and a half, 0-0. 2 former Major League stars are in the coaching boxes today for the A's. Irv Norn, an outfielder for 11 years, is coaching at third, and Jerry Adair, who used to be a fine defensive second baseman, is coaching at first base. Reggie Jackson, Gene Tennis, and Jesus Salou are the 3 scheduled batters for the A's in the last of the second. Jackson and Tennis did not deliver in the playoffs. They did not drive in a run. Jackson, who led the American League with 32 homers, 117 RBIs, and hit a healthy .293. But he injured a hamstring muscle at the end of the year. Then he, I think he had a virus, didn't he, Monty?
He had a strep throat that set him down for the last 3 games, and then the first 4 days of practice prior to the playoffs.
So he probably lost some timing, lost the groove in his swing. The strike, and he's going up against left-handed pitching in this series, except for Tom Seaver. Tomorrow it'll be Koosman and Vida Blue, left-handers again. We'll have right-handers Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. A ball, Tom Seaver and Catfish Hunter. Boy, that's quite a matchup. They're all good matchups. Both clubs have outstanding pitching. 320-game winners for the A's, and you all know how good the Mets are in the pitching department. A 1-1 delivery. Jackson, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The on-deck batter is Gene Tennis, the most valuable player of the 1972 World Series.
Kurt, we made several comments last year during the telecast. As Gino would hit those home runs, it seemed to surprise everybody that if he played a whole year, he'd hit a bunch.
Matt Lack's pitch is outside for a ball. I like Matt Lack's thinking. They're telling a story that he and his wife were wallpapering their home, and Matt Lack put half the paper on upside down. So he didn't know what to do. He just decided to put it all on upside down. It's beautiful. Outside, ball 3, 3-2. The man has creativity.
That's how left-handers got that reputation.
Right.
It's easier to put the other half on than take that half you've already got on off, isn't it?
That's what he thought. He's also economical. 3-2 to Jackson. Nobody on, nobody out. Jackson hits a hopper to Bud Harrelson. And the little Met shortstop puts him away, and there's 1 down. In the last of the second for the A's, Dick Williams, who has won 3 pennants now as a manager, 67, 72, 67 with the Red Sox, 72 and 73 here with the A's. Gene Tennis hit .258 this year. There's Yogi Berra. There's already a new Yogi Berra story going around the ballpark we'll tell you about. That's Matt Lack next to him. No, wait a minute, that's Seaver, I mean. 24 homers for Tennis, 84 RBIs. That's a strike. Somebody is supposed to have gone into the dugout today and talked to Yogi, one of the writers. You know, there are a million Yogi Berra stories over the years. Strike. And they said, you know, we know all about the pitching and batting. How about the intangibles? And Yogi is supposed to have said, well, the only two guys I know are Campaneris and Davalillo. Couldn't be true. 2 strikes to Gene Tennis. Tennis strikes out on a lightning fastball. First strikeout for Matlack, who says he's not as nervous today as he was in the playoffs. Said, I was scared to death last Sunday at Cincinnati. He should be frightened out of his mind every day. 2 down, nobody on. Jesus Salou, picked up by the A's from the Houston Astros in August, wound up hitting .306 in the American League. He had 2 hits 6 times up in the playoffs. And like Willie Mays, he used to be across the bay with the Giants. In fact, one afternoon, the 3 Alou brothers, Matty, Philippe, and Jesus, played the outfield for the San Francisco Giants. He hits it off the bat handle to first baseman Miller, and Matlack just overpowered them in the second inning. 3 up, 3 down at the end of 2, 0-0. A happy 47th birthday today to Eddie Yost, coaching at third for the New York Mets. Roy McMillan, who 4 times led the National League as the best fielding shortstop, 16 years in the National League, is coaching at first. And Bud Harrelson will lead off for the Mets in the 3rd inning. Ball 1 to him. You fans, take a look now out to center field, either to the left or to the right of that open area. If it's not a sellout, they put a green tarp over there to give the batter a green background. I think they're having trouble seeing the ball today with those fans with their white shirt sleeves.
And Kurt, you see that one little white strip of concrete that shows right there? The ball comes right out of that. Holtzman's last pitch came right out of that white concrete. There's just a little bit of it, but it's above the fence right there. Watch where the ball comes.
There it is, right out of it. And Tony Kubek like to have him comment. It doesn't take much to lose that ball, does it, Tony, in the background?
Neither Holtzman or Matlack, as overpowering as they can be, need that. The ball comes out dark. You cannot see the spin on the ball. Change of speeds are very effective.
He has walked Harrelson on 4 pitches, but it hit .258. He, by the way, was graduated from Sunset High in Hayward, California, very close to the Oakland Coliseum, and he attended San Francisco State College. John Matlack is up now.
He was a 135-pound quarterback in high school football here and the captain of 3 different teams, basketball, baseball, and football.
Well, he's a spirited competitor. The score is 0-0 in the 3rd inning. They're looking for the bunt, and they have Green charging. There's a play for you. The second baseman, Green, came charging in with a first baseman holding Tennis. You don't see that too often.
Kurt, we didn't see it much this year because of the designated hitter rule. The pitchers weren't up to bunt that much, but Green did that a whole lot last year for the A's.
That means Campaneris would cover second. This time he holds back. The bunt. Holtzman picks it up, throws to Green. Matlack lays down a perfect sacrifice and moves Bud Harrelson into scoring position.
Kurt, Dick Williams, famous, of course, for trick plays. His team works on it all spring training. And, Monty, you probably know of more of these plays, seeing this club all year long. Sal Bando has a lot to do with calling these, doesn't he?
He calls every one of them after he gets the sign from Dick Williams, and all the infielders take a look at Bando for the signs, which he'll usually give as face signs or on the shirt.
All right, we have our first man in scoring position. Bud Harrelson at second, 1 out. The Mets and the A's are 0-0. It's the top of the order. Garrett's the batter. Strike on the high fastball. Garrett fouled out his first time up. Wayne Garrett with 16 homers has some punch for an infielder. As the note tells you, play him to right. Holtzman is inside. Ball 1, strike 1. So far, Holtzman doesn't appear to us as sharp as he was last Tuesday. He doesn't seem to be quite as fast. And he's struggling a bit with his control. Against the Orioles, he was 0-2, 1-2, and most of the batters, ahead of the hitters. Went for a high inside pitch and fouled it back. 1-2. By the way, we do not have a sellout for this opening game of the World Series. There are some empty seats high in the grandstands down the left and right field area. That's the spot up to the right and in the upper left field area. One ball, 2 strikes to Wayne Garrett. 1 out, Bud Harrelson at second. Curve bounced into the dirt. 2-2. The Mets have the only hit so far. That was by Willie Mays in the first inning. Ken Holtzman has pitched 2 no-hitters in his career in the majors. Nolan Ryan, Don Wilson, Bill Stoneman are other active pitchers who've done it. Foul ball. Holtzman pitched a no-hitter against Atlanta in '69, did not strike out a batter in that no-hitter, an oddity. And he pitched a no-hitter against Cincinnati in '71. 27 years old. Graduated from Universal City, Missouri High School in '63.
Kurt, I think both Kenny Holtzman and Ray Fosse know that Kenny's getting away with what might be some bad pitches under normal conditions. That looked like a fastball right down the middle. Garrett was late.
Now he crowds Wayne Garrett for ball 3, strike 2. The full count, 1 out, Bud Harrelson at second. Ray Fosse has an unusual habit. Watch him here. He steps behind the batter to return the ball to the mound. I've never seen the catcher do this. Look at him. He throws over the shoulder and behind the batter. Most of them, you know, just raise up and flip it back over the plate.
And Kurt, it doesn't matter if it's a left or a right-hander. If it's a right-handed batter, he goes the other way to do it.
3-2 to Wayne Garrett. One out, Harrelson at second. A pop-up down the first baseline. They give way to Gene Tennis, and he has it in foul ground. There are 2 down. That's twice that Garrett has popped up. Felix Millan comes up. Usually makes contact. He grounded out his first time.
Kurt, that habit that Fosse has, I can see him doing it with a left-handed hitter, I guess, and I've seen it in the minor leagues and in the major league level with a man on base. You can hit the batter's bat, and the ball can bounce back over the back of his head. With a right-handed hitter, I don't know why he does it. They can step away from him.
Millan's record in the playoffs, 2 outs. Bud Harrelson at second. The Mets nothing, the A's nothing. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. A strike on the inside corner, 0-1. The outfield is very shallow for Millan and to the opposite field. They figure that he won't hit the long ball, that he'll try and punch it somewhere. 1 strike. Foul back. He was trying to go to right. Strike 2. Holtzman boring in with a fastball. Millan struck out only 22 times in 153 games this year. He ranks among the leaders in the National League and the toughest to strike out. He's been in the top 5 the last 5 years of a hard batter to fan. 2-strike pitch is high, 1-2.
Kurt, Buddy Harrelson down on second base is getting an extra long lead, knowing that outfield is playing so shallow for Millan. Any ball hit out there, he knows he's really going to have to hustle and get a good jump with that good lead to score. Jackson has a good throwing arm. Rudy is very accurate, is he not, Monty?
Yes, he has a good arm. I haven't seen a Lou throw that much. But Rudy and Jackson are strong throwers.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Felix Millan. Bud Harrelson getting his lead. There are 2 down. Went for a high fastball and fouled it away. The Mets have been reaching for some bad pitches so far. Pitches out of the strike zone.
Kurt, there's a factor here, too. The grass in the outfield at this ballpark is very thick, and there has not been a football game played on it to tear it up in about a month. So the ball will roll fairly slowly going out there, and that could help a runner also.
Al Davis of the Oakland Raiders thinks he may never get back in here again. There's a bounding ball to Bando at third. He'll go to first, Wide throw in time. Bando is usually very accurate, but he nearly threw that one away. No runs, no hits, 1 man left, 2.5 gone, 0-0. And a very attractive football-baseball doubleheader on NBC tomorrow. We'll begin with NFL football at 1 p.m. You'll see either Baltimore at Buffalo, O.J. running wild this year, New York at New England, or Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Followed by Game 2 of the World Series with the Baseball World of Joe Garagiola beginning at 4 p.m. Check your local listing for the NFL game in your area. We're in the last of the 3rd inning here in the Oakland Coliseum. The first 6 A's batters up have been retired, and they'll send up Fosse, Green, and Holtzman to face John Matlack. 1 hit in the game, that's been by Willie Mays. There's a high pop, twisting outside first. John Milner scrambling for it. He has it, there's 1 down. And John Matlack is picking right up where he left off last Sunday in Cincinnati.
And there's one of those foul pops occurred out in no man's land here at the Oakland Coliseum. That one didn't really go that far off the foul line, but it was very close to what would have been in the seats in another park.
You'd be amazed at how the big foul areas help a pitcher. A couple of foul balls in the seats, and boom, fella can come up with a couple of men on and hit one out, and over the year that averages out. Big foul areas are a great aid to a pitcher. Catchable foul balls. Fouled away by Dick Green. Well, Matlack really seems in the groove. In his last 3 starts, 2 games during the regular season, the playoff, he's allowed just 1 run. He beat St. Louis 2-0. Lost to the Cubs 1-0. Then in the playoff game, beat Cincinnati 5-0. Inside. So far, he has stopped the A's cold, retiring the first 7 batters up. A 1-1 count to Dick Green. Dick looks at the curve high. 2-1. Dick hit 260 this year. He has some punch to right center, although they're playing him straight away. He can drive a ball deep into right center, especially a pitch high and outside over the plate. 2 balls and a strike.
Curdy had a grand slam home run against the California Angels to win a game this year that knocked Bobby Valentine, who was an outstanding center fielder for the Angels, because Bobby made a try for the ball and ran into the fence and shattered his leg.
Ball 4, Green is on, and you saw Ken Holtzman on deck, which was a strange spot for him because the American League this year, the pitchers have not hit. Holtzman did come up 1 time. He's one of the better hitting pitchers. He walked in that 1 time up. Catfish Hunter is the best hitting pitcher in this team, and Holtzman is right with him there, right behind him.
Be interesting to see if not bunting all season long against game-type competition will affect the bunting of these pitchers from Oakland.
Tony Dick Williams said they've been taking a lot of extra bunting practice, special drills on bunting.
They brought in Bernie DeViveros of the Detroit Tiger organization, one of the outstanding bunting coaches, to teach them.
There's a bunt, foul ball. Strike 1 to Ken Holtzman. The A's have their first base runner on. Green will walk. Dick Williams with a swig now before he looks out again. So they've been drilling on bunting with these pitchers after they clinch their division. Holtzman squares away again and tries to bunt. There's a man going to second, and he's out at second base. Bud Harrelson took the throw. Grody right on the button with it.
Kurt, this is one thing we should see a lot of in this series. 2 fine catchers with good, quick throwing arms, good mobility. Grody keeping the ball out in front of him. Here comes Green. He thought the ball had bounded away a little bit farther, but Grody was on it like a cat with a perfect throw to Harrelson.
Ray Fosse threw 4 of 5 Orioles out attempting to steal in the American League playoffs. You're right, Tony. Holtzman, curve is over, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bert Campaneris on deck. Last of the 3rd inning, 0-0. Just inside, 2-2. Holtzman's lifetime batting average in the majors, 158. And he hit 2 home runs, one off Niekro and Jim McLaughlin. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Outside, 3-2. With 1 out, Matlack walked Green. Green was thrown out. And now he runs the count, 3-2 to his mound opponent, Ken Holtzman. Holtzman hits a foul right back our way. What a day. Temperature must be in the high 70s. Just a slight breeze. A perfect day. And the shirt sleeve crowd basking in the warm California sun. There's a sharp ground ball. Base hit by Holtzman. He makes the turn. He's going for 2. The throw. He's in with a double.
Kurt, there you saw another problem. Not the hit that Holtzman got, of course, but pitchers are going to have should they get on base. Look at Holtzman right now. He hit the base awfully hard. Remember, he has not slid all season long. Watch how late he slides, and he risked injury. He still has his head bent over at second base. Look at him hit that bag. That's just inexperience this season of not having had the slide.
It's another thing, they haven't had to run that short dash before either, Tony. They haven't done any running.
Garrett was drawn in, as you see, and Holtzman just slapped that ball by him. There's Jones firing into second, but too late. And now the A's have their first hit and their first man in scoring position. They have 2 down, and Bert Campaneris is up. He popped up his first time. 0-0 score, last of the third. The A's are threatening. Dancing around, Meehan trying to bluff Holtzman back. Pitches on the inside corner, strike 1 to Campaneris. Campaneris in the playoffs hit 2 homers, knocked in 3 runs. He hit 4 homers all year.
He's had a funny career, Kurt. He had 22 home runs one season.
Fouls it back. Strike 2 to Bert Campaneris. He can fly to first base, puts the pressure on infielders. They know they have to unload quickly.
Kurt, it will be interesting, too, to see these A's and how they will attempt to run on Willie Mays and the ball hit to him, because he cannot throw well anymore. And Irv Noren should really zing those men around third base, anything hitting Mays' direction.
Mays has a bad throwing shoulder now. The 2-strike delivery. A ground ball to the right side. Meehan lets the ball go through his legs. And here the score is Holtzman. Right through the legs of Felix Meehan, who went down for it.
Not hit well, backing up on the ball. Meehan showing a little insecurity. World Series pressure, I don't know, but he came up too soon, went down on that knee, and he was a dead man, letting the ball play him.
He is charged with an error, and now you have one of the premier base stealers in baseball at first, Bert Campaneris, who stole 34 bases in 44 attempts. Joe Rudi was robbed of a base hit by Bud Harrelson his first time. Campaneris jockeying for his lead. 1-0, Oakland ahead in the last of the third. Matlack does not, he's really not exceptional at holding runners.
He does not have a good move to first base. He will look at home and go to first, or look at the runner and then come home, which is obvious to a base stealer. Plus, watch that knee kick.
Campaneris intently studying the pitcher now. 2 down, 1 run in. Last of the third, the A's ahead 1-0. The curve is over to Joe Rudi. Strike 1.
There it was. You may have picked it up. He was looking at Campaneris. He came home. He does the opposite when he's going to first base. And Campy's really got a big lead, Kurt. Not right now, but
He gets a much bigger lead against left-hand pitchers than he does the right-handers.
It's unusual.
He says he can see the ball better.
1 strike to Rudi. Matlack drives him back. 2 out. There were 2 out, nobody on when Ken Holtzman doubled and came in to score on the error committed by Felix Millan. There he goes. Foul ball. Good break by Campaneris.
If I were John Matlack, I don't know if I would have wanted to throw as often as he did to first base and let Campaneris take that much or many looks at my move this early in the series and ball game.
Both teams have had bad breaks with injuries, with Rusty Staub out, who is really swinging a mean bat for the Mets in the playoffs. And the A's will miss Bill North, who stole 53 bases during the regular year.
And missed the last 13 games of the season, Kurt. He had it made as far as the stolen base championship up until that time.
2 strikes. Rudy slams it foul through the third base coaching box into the A's bullpen.
Let's take a look this time how Campy got fooled with the head and the knee kick of Matlack. He starts back toward first base. Matlack goes home. But those base stealers catalog these kinds of things and remembered for the next time.
2 down. 2 strikes to Rudy. There we go. A high throw, and Campaneris is in the second. Matlack made a high throw. Milner couldn't handle it cleanly, and Campaneris slides as a stolen base.
And Kurt, he gets a jump, too good of a jump, and fortunately that Milner made a good leap and saved the ball from going in that right field corner. With all this foul territory, I believe Campy could have scored.
With that kind of a jump, he's done it before, and there's another trait of Campaneris' he never stops and goes back to first when he's picked off. He always keeps going.
It's happened in the Dodger series to Richardson and I against the fabulous Maury Wills. He did the same thing.
And now Campaneris is at second. There are 2 outs. The A's are leading 1-0. The count to Joe Rudy is 2 strikes. Ball 1, strike 2 to Rudy. One stage this year, Rudy lost 17 pounds with a strep throat. That's what Monty Moore was talking about, his lack of power. Foul ball. 1-2. He had an outstanding year last year. He just hit 300 all year. Wound up batting .305.
Kurt, interestingly enough, Monty, in the Mets scouting report on the right-handed hitting power of this A's team, they listed Rudy as the most dangerous hitter from the right side in a clutch situation, even over Bando and Tennis and Darren Johnson.
I think Baltimore had just about the same report, according to some of their players.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Joe Rudy. Campaneris at second, 2 down. Rudy drills it into right field. Here's Campaneris coming in to score, and the A's lead 2-0.
There would be the reason, Kurt, right there, is that he is more apt to go the opposite way with the outside pitch than either Bando or Tennis.
Charlie Finley and his bannered group down there in back of the A's dugout, up waving those banners again that were so dominant during the World Series last year. Here's Sal Bando. He flied to left his first time. 2 outs, Rudy at first. 2 runs in. And there's a base hit into center field by Bando. Rudy makes the turn. Mays fumbles the ball, and Rudy comes on the third.
Mays will probably be given an error. He charged the ball well. The ball bounced up. Rudy had stopped at second base. Watch Willie. Rudy had pulled to a stop at second base as the ball bounds off his wrist, and then thought back to those scouting reports, instinctively said he can't throw. And he took off to third. Here comes Rube Walker.
All right, Harry Parker is starting to warm up in the Met bullpen, number 31. Rube Walker, the Mets pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to Matlack. This all came after 2 out, nobody on. Ken Holtzman doubled. And Campaneris hit what should have been a ground ball for the 3rd out, but it went through the legs of Felix Millan in the right field. Holtzman scoring. Campaneris stole second. Rudy singles him home, and Bando has just singled to center. Mays committed an error, allowing Rudy to go to 3rd, and Yogi Berra. You're wondering about young Matlack now. Reggie Jackson grounded out his first time. Oakland leading 2-0. Runners on 1st and 3rd. 2 gone. Ball 1 to Jackson. Harry Parker quickly getting that right arm warm. 5 games against the Reds, the Mets pitcher allowed a total of just 8 runs and no more than 2 in any one game. The A's have scored twice here in the 3rd inning. Jackson hits a high fly ball down the left field line. Jones coming on, that's the Sunfield, and Harrelson makes a good play crossing the line to grab it. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors, 2 left. At the end of 3, 2-0 Oakland. We're going now to the 4th inning. Kurt Gowdy, Monty Moore, and Tony Kubek from Oakland. Willie Mays, Cleon Jones, and John Milner. Willie Mays, 660 lifetime home runs. Henry Aaron, 713, both in this ballpark today. Mays singled in the 1st inning. Rusty Staub injured, not able to start today. Holtzman's outside for a ball. Ken Holtzman now in postseason play in his last 12 innings has allowed no runs and 2 hits. Mays sends a bounding ball to Bando. Right on target, there's 1 out. And the number 2 and 3 home run hitters of all time. There's the number 2 man, and you just saw the number 3 man bounce out. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn there, and that's Bill Bartholomew, the owner, the president of the Braves, alongside Commissioner Kuhn. Cleon Jones hit a hot 1 hopper back to the box in the 1st inning and was thrown out. 2 runs, 3 hits for Oakland, no runs, 1 hit for the Mets. The Mets have committed 2 errors. Jones again shaded to right center by the outfield, a strike, and they leave a big gap in left center for him. Well, that appears to be the way they're going to play him with left-handers on the mound. 1 strike pitch. There's a drive hit deep into left center. That's that open gap up against the wall. It didn't matter. Jones comes into 2nd with a ringing double, and that's base hit number 2 for the Mets. Oh, with 1 out, Jones at 2nd. The next batter will be John Milner, who flied to center in his initial trip. There's a base hit into center. It's charged by Jackson. Jones is waved on. Jackson's throw. They let the man go down to 2nd. It goes to the backstop. Jackson tried to throw him out, didn't have a chance, didn't hit his cutoff man, and allowed Milner to get to 2nd on the throw to the plate.
And that's the tying run at this point. Jackson with an exceptionally strong throwing arm, violating a cardinal rule of defensive play for an outfielder, overthrowing that man in cutoff position.
Now it's 2-1 Oakland. 1 out for the Mets with John Milner at 2nd. Jerry Grody, the batter, grounded out his first time. Sal Bando's come over to have a chat with Ken Holtzman. Each team now with 3 hits, and the Mets doing what they've been doing all year, battling back, refusing to give in. Horacio Pena and Paul Lindblad are starting to warm up in the Oakland bullpen. There's a drive into left center. Jackson back. On the run, he has it. He saved a run there. Reggie Jackson, playing center field for the first time this year, flagged that one down and saved a run. And Grote would have had a sure double at least.
Here he goes back to left center field. Holtzman making mistakes inside. They've been playing these right-handed hitters toward right center field. He got rid of the ball quickly, holding that runner at second base.
Good play, Reggie. Now they go to the box. And while they're conferring there to find out about Holtzman, who's been slapped hard here by the last three batters, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. NBC hopes you're enjoying Game 1 of the World Series as you watch Pena, the right-hander, Lindblad, the left-hander, getting ready in the Oakland bullpen. Our score, Oakland 2, New York 1. The Mets have 2 down, John Milner at second. Don Hahn up, took a call third strike his first time. Miller, 28 with his back to you, and a lead at second. A ball. Jones doubled off the wall in left center. Milner drilled a single to center, and Grote lined out to Jackson on deck. Will be Bud Harrelson. 1 ball, no strikes to Don Hahn. Ball 2, 2-0.
Kurt, during the American League Championship Series with Baltimore, the execution on the part of the Oakland A's pitchers was almost perfection. They played all the right-hand hitters to right center field, as Jackson is doing now, but they were hitting the outside corner, forcing the hitters to go that way. Now Holtzman is coming up and a little bit inside.
That one's down the right field line and no play. Jesus Alou going for it. And we're very happy to see right in back of Commissioner Kuhn, the president of NBC, Julian Goodman. He's always been a hot baseball fan. He's going to get a good suntan today, too. There's a strike, 2-2. Two down. Milner at second. 2-2 to Don Hahn. The count is 3-2. Pena and Lindblad continue to warm up. Dick Williams studying Holtzman. 3-2 pitch. Reaching and fouling it back. Three and 2 count. Ken Holtzman's 9th professional season began in the Cubs organization back in '65. His 3-2 delivery is ball 4, and the Mets have runners on first and second, 2 out. The next batter is Bud Harrelson, who walked his first time. He's a switch hitter. A little bulldog at the plate. A bulldog everywhere.
I would think if this series boils down to a battle of bullpens, I don't see how with the great starting pitchers, but if it does, the A's might have the edge with more depth in the bullpen.
Milner at second, on at first, 2 out. It's a strike to Bud Harrelson. The A's leading 2-1. Top of the 4th inning. They're not holding, as you notice at first base. Tennis playing off the bag. There's a foul into the stands, and a count of strike 2 to Bud Harrelson, as Holtzman now just pouring that fastball in. And again, they're playing Harrelson fairly shallow and playing him to hit the right field. No balls, 2 strikes. A high fastball makes it 1-2. And you can spot the outfield setup again. Look at Jackson. He's well over in right center. And Alou crowding the right field line. A hole in left center. And Rudy straight away in left. That's the way they've been playing most of these Met right-handed batters. Struck him out through the fastball right by. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. The end of 3.5. It is 2-1 Oakland. Now a program note from NBC. Tonight, paramedics Gage and DeSoto face some tense moments in another dramatic episode of Emergency. Then more suspense and adventure follow when Sean Connery and Diane Cannon star in the Anderson tapes. Saturday night of the movie, right here at NBC. And to correctly check out the pronunciation, Sean Connery, we had to go to our Irishman here, Jim O'Gorman. Here's the way the A's ranked the American League. They were first, runs for and against, third best, the fewest runs allowed. Last of the 4th inning, Gene Tennis is up, strike 1 to him. The A's ahead 2-1. John Matlack just a bit inside, 1-1. Tennis struck out first time. He'll be followed by Alou and then Fosse. 3 right-handers. They're deep and toward left for Tennis. Tennis hits a fly ball in the left field. Cleon Jones will be there, and there's 1 out. That's the sun field here in Oakland. And along about this time of day, it's a mean sun field. That sun perched right up above the top of the stadium. The stands look dark to the outfielder. Jesus Alou popped up his first time. The man with a crick in his neck.
And a million moves with that bat.
He doesn't like to walk. He's like Manny Sanguillen. He'll go after anything. Strike 1 to him. 2 runs, 3 hits for Oakland. 1 run, 3 hits for the Mets. The Mets have committed 2 errors. One of the errors cost them a run. Garrett in tight at third against Alou. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now here's the left field area looking in. Now you see how dark the stands are, and then you go up above and you run into that bright sky. There's a drive deep. That ball is going. It is up on the warning path. It suddenly sunk. That ball looked like it was going out, and it suddenly did a nosedive, and it even fooled Cleon Jones. He was backing up to the wall, getting ready to spring and try and rob Alou of a home run, and suddenly the ball had top spin and sunk right down.
I think also he was bothered by that sun we just talked about, apparently making a catch before it hit the ground. The wind appears to be blowing out to center field slightly, but that wind apparently circles around in your Monty and holds some balls up.
The playing field is about 90 feet below the ground level. Actually, this is a big hole in the ground, and the flags that are blowing out are well up above the playing surface. Wind really is very rarely a factor here.
2 down. Nobody on for the A's in the last of the 4th. Ray Fosse fouled out his first time. A's ahead 2-1. Ball 1. Some kind of a spin on that ball as it left the bat. You can say Alou hits a sinker. 1 ball, no strikes. A little bit high. Ball 2, 2-0. Matlack has struck out a batter. He's walked a batter. Now he bends the curve over. 2 balls and a strike. Ray Fosse was hit by Pete Rose in the collision in the extra inning game at Cincinnati's All-Star game. One of the famous moments, and Rose came in there trying to win it the way he should have. Fosse was trying to block the plate. He had a sore shoulder for over a year. The 2-1 pitch. Big hopper to shortstop Harrelson. His throw, and the A's are gone 1-2-3. At the end of 4 innings, it's Oakland 2 and New York 1. The preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball. If you joined us late, the A's scored twice in the third with 2 down. Ken Holtzman doubled, scored when Meehan let Campaneris' ground ball go through his legs. Campaneris stole second, and then Rudy singled him home. The Mets scored in the fourth with 1 out. Jones doubled. Milner singled him in. And that's it, 2-1. Matlack leading off for the Mets, the bottom of the order in the 5th inning. He sacrificed his first time. The ball to him. He hit 143. Lifetime average in the National League as a pitcher. Ball 2 to the weak hitting pitcher, 2-0. He does draw a lot of walks for a pitcher, though. He looks the ball over well. Look at this, ball 3. He hasn't been near the strike zone. Most managers will mutter and say they'll do it every time. And once again, we get warm-up action. Darrell Knowles now and Raleigh Fingers, and here's Wes Stock, the pitching coach, coming out. Now they have the 2 aces of the bullpen getting ready. Knowles, a left-hander, who missed the World Series last year with a broken finger, and Raleigh Fingers, who saved the deciding game and was outstanding against Cincinnati.
Kurt, we saw Matlack in the ball game he pitched against Cincinnati, probably the best game of his career. We saw Holtzman in what might have been the best game of his career against Baltimore. Neither one looks half as sharp as they did in those 2 ball games, struggling for their control.
Holtzman has walked 2 thus far and has struck out 2. And he has a 3-ball, no strike count to John Matlack. That one's over, 3-1. Three and 2. Pop foul out of play. Tomorrow, left-handers again. Vida Blue for the A's. Jerry Koosman for the Mets. Our coverage starts at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, followed by an NFL football game. Football game is first, then the World Series. That's a foul ball that Ray Fosse couldn't come up with. In fact, it hit him. You'll see 1 of 3 NFL football games tomorrow somewhere, wherever your area may be. And we'll come out of football to game 2 of the World Series. 3-2 pitch. He walked him. 3rd walk given up by Ken Holtzman, and he walks the pitcher. Well, he walked Harrelson, the number 8 hitter, in the 3rd, and he walks the pitcher to start the 5th. Wayne Garrett at the top of the order has hit 2 foul pops so far. They're looking for the bunt. Bando shortened up at 3rd. And pop to Holtzman. He throws to first. Double play. Garrett pops into the double play, attempting the bunt. Holtzman to the first baseman, Dennis.
Holtzman with a pretty good fastball getting in on the fists. I don't know if they had some kind of trick play on there again, if Green was coming in. Here it is again. For a while, I think Holtzman thought of trapping the ball, but he was yelled at by his catcher, Fosse, that Matlack had gotten off too far, and they got him behind him.
That's our first double play. The Mets have 2 down, nobody on, and Felix Meehan up. Grounded to 2nd, grounded to 3rd.
Kurt, you remember last year in the World Series, a big play in game number 5 here was when Cincinnati popped the ball up and Raleigh Fingers was going to let it trap and eventually picked it up and threw it away. Surprising that the runner at first base here got that big a jump when he could see the ball in the air.
Mm-hmm.
One very good base running. Pitchers will do that at times.
Meehan. Again played fairly shallow and toward right. Oakland leading 2-1 in the 5th inning. 1-0. Holtzman is wild high. Having trouble bringing that fastball down. Again, 2-0 up there. Let's take a look at Meehan now. I'll show you how extreme he chokes up on the bat. He's almost halfway up.
Is that so he could hit it with either end?
Could be. And there's a drive hit deep to left. They were playing him shallow. Rudy's back. Rudy lost the ball in the sun. Meehan is in the second and coming for third. Meehan, they played him shallow and he hit the ball over Rudy's head. Rudy got out there. When he turned around, I'm sure that bright sun bothered him there in the sun field.
Meehan using out with this kind of power. Rudy knew he had to go fast to the warning track, then turned around too soon, then had a problem with the sun. He was all twisted up. Jackson, who was playing in right center field, couldn't get over in time to back him up. Now the tying run at third base.
You can say that Rudy had all kinds of problems on that play. A triple for Felix Meehan.
And Kurt, and I guess almost every area, we're not seeing as crisp a play as we did in the playoffs. Pitching, defense.
Willie Mays up. Well, you were right, Monty. I think he hit it with the right into the bat that time, Meehan. Mays takes ball one. Mays singled to left and grounded to third. Meehan's at third. He's the tying run for the New York Mets in the fifth inning with 2 out. Willie Mays' 23rd professional season. His 22nd National League season. A strike to him. 1-1. They say that the real good stuff overpowers him now. They can't get around on it. We'll see what he does with Holtzman. Time a veteran player reaches back and gets that 1 month, 1 week, or 1 day of glory again. Pitches high, ball 2. Once again, Holtzman's up high with that fastball.
Kurt, Mays is one of the few right-handed hitters in this Mets lineup that the A's are playing toward left field. The last time up, they did not. They played him in right center. So apparently they've given up a little bit on their game plan. Holtzman hasn't been able to get the ball away from these right-handed hitters.
And Holtzman's almost abandoned his curveball. 2 balls and a strike to Willie Mays. Meehan at third, 2 down. 3-1 to Mays. Leon Jones, the on-deck batter. He tagged Holtzman for a double off the wall in the fourth. You may see fingers in here if Mays gets on. Mays is still in great shape. Look at him, 185 pounds. Goes after it and fouls it back. He doesn't weigh much more than he did when he broke in. Back in 51. First major league hit was a home run, I recall, off Warren Spahn. 3-2. Meehan's at third. Mays hits a high fly ball to right fielder Jesus Salou. The side's retired. No runs for the Mets. 1 hit, no errors. They left 1. We're halfway through, and it's Oakland 2, New York 1. Well, a tight one is expected. 4.5 innings gone here in Oakland, and it's the Oakland A's 2, the New York Mets 1. Now we're going to turn the play-by-play over to Monty Moore, who's broadcast the A's games here the last 12 years. Mr. Kubek in the background will be analyzing the reruns. Monty, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Hi once again, everybody. Dick Green will lead off for Oakland in the last half of the 5th inning. He'll be followed by the pitcher Kenny Holtzman and Bert Campanera. So far, New York has 1 run on 4 hits. They've made 2 errors. The A's have 2 runs on 3 hits, and they've played airlessly in the field. Breaking ball starts Green off. Green walked his first time up in the game and then was thrown out at second base. Dick ordinarily is not that aggressive on the base paths, but it looked as if the ball were going to bounce away from Grody, and Grody made a very fine play. I think you hit it on the head, Kurt, when you talked about the 2 fine catchers in this series. They are both very quick in getting rid of the ball, and they both throw very accurately. Incidentally, we're going to have a pinch hitter for Kenny Holtzman, so he has gone 5 innings and will be gone. Mike Andrews is on deck, and he will be a pinch hitter for Oakland.
So that will be the designated hitter, and the first time its effects will be felt by not being in this ball game.
Green trying to go to right field.
And even though Holtzman got him out there in the top of the 5th, Evidently, Dick Williams didn't like the way he was struggling. He's high with his fastball, and he just doesn't want him to get in serious trouble, suddenly get shelled. He'll probably come on with fingers.
Two balls, two strikes. Green had a lot of big hits for Oakland this year, batting 9th most of the season. Drove in over 40 runs. Fought off the fastball. Before the game, Darren Johnson was telling us that one of the strengths of Matlack to him was the fact that he's able to throw not only hard, but to keep the hard stuff down low. He says he has very good control from the waist to the knees, and that was a good example pitch right then. Greeny threw the bat as he struck out on the curveball, and it went all the way off third base. The reason that is that Dick has a sore finger, and he throws the bat a lot when he's fooled on a pitch.
Change speed's a pitch that's hard to see with the kind of background these hitters have with those white shirts. Green way out in front, and now they've called Andrews back, Monty.
And it'll be Angel Manguel batting for Kenny Holtzman rather than Mike Andrews.
And it is going to be Raleigh Fingers. He has just started to warm up again in the A's bullpen. He'll come in to pitch the 6th inning.
I think one difference here, Dick Williams does this. He expected that Dick Green would get on. There's Raleigh. And Andrews is an excellent bunter. Angel Manguel is more likely, if he hits the ball, to drive it for distance. Manguel batted only .224 for Oakland this year, but he hit 3 home runs, and he played very, very little. Played almost none at all from July until the last 3 weeks, or 2 weeks when Billy North was injured.
Monty, he's been saying he wants to be traded, doesn't he?
Well, that's what I read in the papers. He had the center field job for Oakland last year, but lost it in a tight 4-way battle in spring training this year. He's a good young ball player. He came to Oakland in a trade with Pittsburgh for Mudcat Grant.
Monty and Kurt, here's a decision that during the regular season of the American League and the championship season, Williams would not have had to made because of the designated hitter.
2 strikes on Manguel. Kenny Holtzman probably saying, what have I got to do? I got one of the hits that Oakland has today. Nice play by Bud Harrelson, the shortstop, the Mets. Well, he's made one going to his left and one going to his right today.
He has the range.
This is getting a jump on the ball. Manguel didn't hit it all that well. He was hit right on the fist, it looked like, by a good pitch. And Harrelson got a good, quick break off of it because it was in on the batter.
Harrelson playing the last 6 weeks of this season and through the playoffs the same as he did in 1969 with that great range. And he's been instrumental in getting these Mets to this World Series.
Here's Bert Campaneris. Matlack's curve is low.
No, Monty, we're seeing a lot of good shortstops now in the major league. 2 good ones here today, Campaneris and Harrelson.
You almost have to have one to win. In the playoffs, Baltimore, of course, has Mark Belanger, one of the very best, and both he and Campaneris made 4 or 5 throws out of the deep hole at shortstop to get runners at first base. Matlack's gone to a curve, and it's a good one right now. He's had it down. It's a ball and 2 strikes on Campaneris. Campy has streaks of going to right field, but then he'll have streaks where he doesn't try to go to right for a week or 2, and he can hit the ball out of the park. Check swing foul. Invariably, when Campaneris starts choking up and going to right, his batting average goes up. With his speed, he should be a better average hitter than .250, which he had this year. Tried to go to right with that one, but Matlack threw it by him. After 5 innings, the score 2-1 Oakland. There's Mary Barry, one of the Oakland A's ball girls, and after the 5th inning here of all ball games, both she and Debbie Sevier, the other girl, will take refreshments out to the umpires, and that having been done, we're ready for baseball. Here's Debbie Sevier. Raleigh Fingers, the new pitcher, throws a big breaking slider. Holtzman in 5 innings gave up 1 run on 4 hits. He walked 3 and struck out 2. Raleigh Fingers, one of the top relief pitchers in baseball, this year won 7 and lost 8, but had 22 saves for the A's with a very fine earned run average of 1.92, and he's facing Cleon Jones with a count 1-1.
He's extremely rough on right-handers with a sidearm slider, sidearm sinking fastball.
Ball 2.
And a wax mustache.
Which became very famous in the World Series last year because he was in 6 games. And 6 of those 7 games were decided by 1 run. Ball's fouled off the right field side and into the seats.
I got a kick. The Minnesota Vikings are here in town to play the 49ers tomorrow. And Chuck Foreman, the brilliant rookie running back, he's quite a baseball fan. And they asked him who he thought he'd win. He said, well, I have to root for the A's because I like all their mustaches. He said they started something new and they're colorful, and he especially brought up the name of Raleigh Fingers.
First mustache on an athlete of prominence in this area was, of course, on Ben Davidson of the Oakland Raiders. But the A's had just about everybody wearing them. Fingers a little wild right now himself. He's 3-2 on Cleon Jones, who rifled a double to left center field in the 4th inning. Base hit. Fingers has to give in a little bit when he gets 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Jones socked it right up the middle. So the Mets have out-hit the A's 5-3, and here is Milner, who had a base hit in the 4th inning, and it knocked in a run.
Now Fingers comes in more overhand, doesn't he, Monty, against the left-handers?
He does. He throws about 3/4 normally, but against the left-handers, as you say, he will try to stay up on top more. His fastball sinks better when he stays up. They constantly remind him of it. There it is, the good hard sinking fastball, but he missed with it. 1 ball and no strikes.
Be interesting to see if the Mets get in a pinch hitting situation with a right-hander on the mound, if Rusty Staub can swing the bat. It was a little bit tight today during batting practice and yesterday during the workout. Maybe for a 1-shot swing and just the threat of his bat from the left side might help the Mets.
Fouled off. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Oakland leading 2-1. First game of the World Series, which will move to New York for 3 night games, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's the breaking ball coming into the left-hand batter. The break on his slider is about as wide a break as by any right-hand pitcher in the league. Raleigh was born in Steubenville, Ohio, but grew up in Cucamonga, California. Ray Fosse calls for that one. He has only 1 play. That's to first. Jones goes to second on the full swinging bunt by Milner.
We talked about the fine catching in this ball game today. Watch Fosse get out from behind that plate, removing the mask so we can get a good clear picture of the ball. No chance for the play at second.
Tony, he has a quick release, doesn't he?
He did another thing too well. He picked the ball up using the mitt. Rake it over in a 2-hand pickup, and the best thing he did, of course, was the communication with Raleigh Fingers, telling Raleigh to stay away. But the Mets now have 2 shots at tying the ball game with a hit. And here's Jerry Grote, who's grounded to second and lined to center. Big lead for Jones off second. Fingers looks him back in, and there's a drive hit deep to left. That's out if it's fair. Foul ball. That one just missed the foul pole. That's the area where the ball really carries in this ballpark. Down that line. And he got all of that one. Raleigh hung that pitch inside, and he'll do that off the sidearm delivery to right-hand batters quite a bit.
He was lucky getting away with that one.
Followed very hard by Grote, hooking away from that foul pole. Fingers got away with a mistake.
Rhodey has a very quick bat. He's hit 2 balls very hard here today. Back upstairs with a fastball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Monty, Reggie Jackson, for not having played much center field, none this year, I guess you said, is playing a very shallow center field.
Billy North, the man whom he replaced, played a very, very shallow center field. He and Paul Blair are the 2 most shallow in the American League. Ball 2. Rollie Fingers. He started a few games this year, 1 or 2 games, 2 games. Rhodey fouls the fastball off. He's been high with every pitch, and the man who runs the show on the infield for Oakland, Sal Bando, just went in to say something to Rollie. As Catfish Hunter says, I can hear Bando the whole ball game, and he just keeps saying the same thing. Keep it down, keep it down.
Get ahead of the hitter.
Sal is a tremendous team leader, was one of the youngest team captains ever named in the major leagues. And he's held that job for 5 years here in Oakland. Popped it up. Campaneris with the shades down. Green is going out. Jackson coming in. Who's taking over? Jackson caught that ball with a glove up. I don't think he intended to catch it that way, but Green had gone a long way out, and
near collision. Green not hearing Jackson until the last possible second, then getting out of the way. That outfielder controlling the entire play, waving Green off.
Good move by Jackson. As he slipped by him, the collision could have jarred it loose.
there are 2 down, and here's Don Hahn. Score 2-1, Oakland over the Mets. It's the 6th inning in Oakland. Riley's going almost exclusively with a fastball right now. 1 strike to count on Hahn. Jones at second base giving the thumbs up sign to Hahn. Two strikes now. With that stance, Hahn is definitely a right field type hitter. Out of the Mets bullpen, Harry Parker's gone to work for the 3rd time in the game. Fingers ahead of the batter. Fouled off. Tony, I think in the first game of a World Series, you really see, particularly with a man in scoring position, what the scouting reports say about the batters, because the pitcher is going to go right at the batter with the pitch that the scout says you can get him out on right now.
No doubt about that. And, of course, what you mentioned a while ago, Bando yelling out to Fingers, get ahead of the hitter, and he is right now. Let's see if he wastes one.
Fosse giving a low outside target again off the sidearm fastball. Swung on and missed. It gets away from Fosse. Hahn is going to make it to first base. Going to third on the play is Jones. Plate umpire says the man did not foul tip the ball. Well, we had just mentioned that Fosse was giving a low outside target. That pitch came high and inside, and Ray just couldn't get up there and corral it.
He came from the side of crossfire. Hahn never saw the ball. I don't believe he was completely surprised.
So was Fosse.
Fosse was shielded on the swing by Hahn. Did not see the ball going off his glove. It could be a big play.
And shades of Tommy Henrich and Mickey Owen.
We had that play in the playoffs with Baltimore. Dick Green struck out on a play with Earl Williams catching, and it allowed a runner to keep an inning alive, and the A's went out and scored. Now here is a tough switch hitter and Bud Harrelson, hitting right-handed today. He walked in the 3rd inning and struck out against Kenny Holtzman. Possibility with 2 down here, he might try to bunt his way on for a base hit if Bando plays him back, but Sal's going to play about even with a bag at 3rd. It's a strikeout and a passed ball. That pitch just took off. Ball 1. Raleigh ordinarily has good control, but so far in this game, it's very apparent he is not throwing the ball where he wants to. Fastball strike on the outside corner. The A's outfield has shifted just as strongly around to the left on Harrelson as they had been around to the right when he was batting right-handed. Joe Rudi very close to the foul line in shallow. Jackson in shallow center, and there's the hole between center and right. And Oakland has Darrell Knowles up in the bullpen throwing. Bullpen coach Vern Hochheit standing there to protect him. Good sinking fastball. Strike two.
It's interesting, Monty, that last year the Oakland club became the first team to go into a World Series with only 8 pitchers eligible since the Cardinals in 1944 against the Browns. And Oakland's into this series with just 8 men on their pitching staff.
That's right. The designated hitter this year, that is the most Oakland has carried all year long. Harrelson, check swing, foul off into the Oakland dugout.
It almost looks as if the hitters are even having more difficulty picking up the ball now. The pitch that Hahn swung at, and Harrelson almost got hit by the last one on a check swing.
Harrelson really chokes up on that bat also. Struck him out with a blazer on the inside. No runs and a hit. 2 left on. The score in the middle of the 6th inning, Oakland 2, New York 1.
We've talked many times during this telecast about the poor background for the hitters in this ballpark today. Let's listen to the words of Joe Rudi and what that background looks like.
Tony, it really is, because the background they have here isn't wide enough, and they took the tarps down they normally have over the seats, and people are going to be sitting there in the light shirts, and a left-handed pitcher is tough for right-handed and vice versa.
Here is Joe Rudi starting the 6th inning. He has hit 2 line drives today, one caught by the shortstop, and the other into right field for a base hit that knocked in the go-ahead run.
See where Darrell Knowles predicted yesterday that Rudi would be the star of the World Series.
You know, last year was funny, Kurt. Before the World Series, Gene Tennis had only 1 hit in 17 at-bats in the playoffs. Slow curveball gets Rudi swinging, and Darrell Knowles predicted to the press after the final game in Detroit, the man who's going to have a great World Series is Gene Tennis, and he did. So all the players and the press put it on him again this year. All right, make a prediction. So he picked Joe Rudi. They've changed the pitching pattern on him this time up. They're throwing him off-speed pitches now. They've been throwing smoke to him.
Matlack is relying more on his curveball and his fastball. He's showing him the fastball and then using his curve in the strike zone.
There it is. Rudi bunts the ball, and it hits him in the foot, and the plate umpire calls him out. Dick Williams is going to argue about this. He doesn't think Rudi was out of the batter's box. Plate umpire Marty Springstead challenged by Rudi and Williams. They don't think they were out of the batter's box when the ball hit him, and Springstead didn't ask for any help. He called it right now.
And I think that's what Dick Williams is arguing. Also, Joe Rudi, why don't you appeal, or we want to appeal the play and have Augie Donatelli in a conference with you. But he called it all on his own. Apparently Rudi out of the batter's box.
Tell you, Williams and Springstead have had a thing going all year long. If you want to know the truth, they have really had some tough arguments this year.
Catcher will get the put out on this.
Right. 1 out, 6th inning, and that brings up Sal Bando. There was no question about the ball hitting Joe Rudi. The question was whether or not it hit him while he was in the batter's box. Bando's lined out to left field and singled. This is the man who had the comeback year for Oakland. Vida Blue did in the pitching staff, from winning only 6 last year to 20 this year. Bando had a low season last year in average, about 234. This year, he hit over 280, right at 290. Knocked in 98 runs, hit 29 home runs. It was a tremendous comeback year for Sal Bando. Pop out of play into the crowd.
We don't have many banners here, Monty, but those we do are for Willie Mays. They are for the hometown Oakland Ball Club.
Mets fans are famous for banners. Bud Harrelson working on another grounder. Throws him out. 2 out in the 6th, and here's Reggie Jackson. Jackson is grounded to short and popped up to short. I tell you, for a guy who missed a couple of weeks or so, at the end of a season, it's kind of tough to get out of a slump when you see the pitching of Baltimore and New York Mets. It's tough to get out of a slump against that kind of pitching.
Well, if he doesn't get a hit today, he's made 2 good plays in center field. He's contributed there, and he can do that. He's a good fielder, base runner, fine throwing arm.
Curdy's had the best year defensively and on the bases he's ever had with the A's this year. He really put it all together, and I think is a bona fide strong candidate for Most Valuable Player Award honors in the American League.
I wondered how much that bad injury he had last year that shelved him in the World Series would slow him down this year, but evidently not much.
Early in the season, he seemed to really be afraid of testing it. He almost stole no bases at all. He didn't run hard, but about mid-season he started really going and has no fear at all of the hamstring pull snapping again.
Monty, we look down, we see Tug McGraw starting to warm up now.
So both these managers, Yogi Berra of the Mets and Dick Williams of the A's, have gone to their aces. With our portable camera looking from behind the home plate area on the third base side. Reggie Jackson gets a walk, and that brings up Gene Tenace. It's only the 2nd walk Matlack has given up in the game. There's Rusty Staub. Not playing today because of an injured shoulder that he made making a sensational catch in New York in the series against Cincinnati.
Monty, we might see Rusty in this ball game. Matlack is the first hitter in the 7th for the Mets.
He really hit Tenace on the fist with that one. Millan throws him out, and that's all for Oakland. After 6 innings of play here at the Coliseum in Oakland, it is the A's 2 and the Mets 1.
Game 2 of the World Series here tomorrow. Then we'll switch to New York. And Tuesday night, our coverage will start at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time with the baseball world of Joe Garagiola. Then Game 3 of the series, the scheduled pitchers, 2 right-handers, Tom Seaver and Catfish Hunter. And now Yogi Berra makes his move. He lifts Matlack. He's going to pitch hit Kenny Boswell. Matlack was tenacious today. He allowed the 2 runs and the 3 hits that the A's have all in 1 inning. In the 3rd inning, and outside of that, he checked the A's and rather overpowered them.
Made some tremendous pitches, and that last one to Gene Tenace was a very fine example of that. Came in hard and low, and Gino was almost handcuffed with the ball. Here's Boswell at 235. He's at 12 for 51 as a pinch hitter this year. 235 mark as a pinch hitter. He's from Austin, Texas. Against Raleigh Fingers. 0-1. Baseball has the last 2 years in the playoff system had both the National and American League playoffs go the full 5 games. Last year, the World Series, the full 7. Fingers misses, ball 2.
And unless Fingers falters this inning, we'll have the 2 aces of the bullpens going against each other. Tug McGraw is going to come on and pitch in the last of the 7th for the Mets.
Fingers came on a little earlier today than you look for short inning relievers to come on, but he's had some fairly long relief jobs this year. He's gone to ball 3 on the leadoff man. It appears that Boswell came out ready to take a look at Fingers and make him throw strikes. Darrell Knowles jumps up again in the Oakland bullpen. Strike. Horacio Pena also joins Knowles. There are two men who were not with the A's in the World Series last year. The other bullpenner, Paul Lindblad, was not here either. Base hit for Boswell to start the Mets in the 7th. Boswell crawls off the bench, gets a hit for Matlack, and now the top of the batting order, Garrett. Ray Fosse looking over to the A's dugout area. A lot of times Ray has a signal with Dick Williams to tell Dick whether or not a pitcher still has his stuff. Garrett bunted into a double play in the 5th inning. He's 0 for 3 today. Line drive to Green on one hop. That should be a double play to Green, to Campaneris, and then to Tennis. They got them both.
Boy, Garrett hit that ball hard.
And there's a play that's going to afford a little bit of second guessing, I think, on the part of sports writers, fans, and I guess us broadcasters. Why not a bunt? Moving that tying run into scoring position at second base. Green can really pick him, can't he, Monty? He's a good second baseman.
That was not an easy play there. It was hard hit and right at him. It's the short hop, and he fields that ball cleanly about as well as anybody around.
On the other hand, Tony, the ball hit a few feet either way. Boswell would have been the 3rd.
I would imagine that figured in it, that Fingers had not had really good stuff here in this inning so far, and let him take a shot at him with that left-handed batter. Dick Williams is out to talk to Raleigh now. The pitcher's friend, the double play, and the A's have had 2 so far today behind their pitchers. Here's Millan, who backed Joe Rudy up a little bit beyond the scouting report, I believe, with that triple he hit into left center in the 5th inning. Joe was playing him very shallow, and he's deep now.
Here comes McGraw in toward the Met bullpen. He'll come in to pitch the last of the 7th.
Well, Millan doesn't give you much of a strike zone. Look at that. He's right on the plate and in a crouch. Raleigh misses low. There's one hitter in the American League who bats like this. He chokes the bat up about 8 to 10 inches. That's Kenny Suarez, final catcher for the Texas Rangers. Strike call. We asked Kenny one day this year, why don't you just get a shorter bat if you want to just use the end of it?
Millan's hands and bat handle are actually in the strike zone.
Two balls and a strike.
I'd say the Mets today have hit the ball harder than the A's.
And have more of them. 6 hits to 3.
They stung the ball even on outs.
Like that one. A line drive to Bert Campaneris. He picked it right off his shoe tops. In the 7th inning, the Mets don't score, leaving it Oakland 2, New York 1.
We've already seen one good defensive play by Buddy Harrelson, the shortstop. Let's take a look at another one, and we expect that from these 2 shortstops in this ball game. Almost handcuffed by it. Bert Campaneris scooping it right off the ground, showing the umpire that it did not bounce, did not short hop it.
And here, Monty, is Tug McGraw now, who staggered through the early part of the season, and that was brilliant the last 2 months.
He is from Vallejo, California. Born in Martinez, so he is pitching right in his home backyard, and it's amazing how many Mets players are playing right here close to home. But this has been a great baseball area, Kurt. It's produced some of the outstanding Major League stars of Frank Robinson and Willie Stargell and Veda Pinson, and you could go on and on. This area has produced a lot of big league players.
Let's see, Pinson and Robinson came from McClymonds High School.
That's right, right
Same
here.
high school.
Not very far away from this ballpark.
McGraw with a screwball, that's his trademark, but he does have a fine fastball and curveball. He can overpower you. Usually has good control. Control he acquired late in the season after that shaky start.
He was sensational the last 2 months of the season. He appeared in 60 games, winning 5 and losing 6, but he had 25 saves. His earned run average 3.86. First man he faces, Jesus Alou. This is the 3rd Alou brother to play with the Oakland A's in the last 3 years. Strike call. And all 3 of them played with the San Francisco Giants on the other side of the bay. No balls, 2 strikes. Good fastball by McGraw. A lot of people ask you to compare the 3 Alou brothers, Felipe, Matty, and Jesus, and I think they're all 3 different types of players. Hit him right on the fist. Watch Harrelson at work. Got him. Good play on the run.
He makes difficult plays look easy. He gets a good jump. He's actually moving before the pitch. He has such good instinct and is leaning with the pitch. He got the big hop. Watch him get rid of the ball with an accurate throw. One of the tops in baseball.
Threw off the right foot, but it makes no difference with that kind of momentum going towards first base. Here's Ray Fosse, the A's catcher. Had 1 hit in the playoffs, but it was a big one, a 2-run double off Jim Palmer. Tried to bunt his way on. Strike 1. Score 2-1 last half of the 7th inning on a brilliant sunshiny day in the Bay Area. One ball, 1 strike. Screwball, and it came back and hit the inside corner. That at one time was definitely a ball, but it just kept turning, going down, and it nailed the inside corner. It's 1-2 on Ray. There it is again, and it's hit to the shortstop, Harrelson, and that today has been a bad place to hit it if you want to get on. 2 away.
I think it was McGraw who coined the Mets slogan this year, "You gotta believe."
Dick Green, up for the 3rd time in the game. He's walked and struck out. The Mets are in the World Series with the lowest 1-loss percentage of any team in the history of the series. 3 games over 500. Screwball, call strike.
Deceiving, though, Monty. They didn't have their club till the final 6 weeks.
More, and the fact remains they had to beat a very good club who had a much better 1-loss record to get here. Inside a ball.
We had another team. 1914, the Braves came from last place to win the World Championship. The Mets are trying to do it now.
Strike to Green.
And the Braves in that World Series swept it in 4 games. George Stallings against Connie Mack.
McGraw throwing heat up there, and with that screwball, which is an off-speed pitch, followed by the fastball or preceded by it, you can see how the batters have a hard time getting on McGraw. Back to the screwball, and Green pops it off first base. Right in front of the Mets dugout on the warning track. You can see how far the runners have to go to try to catch a foul pop here. First baseman Milner ran a long ways that time. The distance.
4 years have made a lot of difference for McGraw. He was with the Mets in '69, but didn't pitch in the series.
Two out, 7th inning, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Harrelson to Milner, and 3 times in a row that combination worked for the Mets here in the 7th. The score after 7 innings in Oakland is the A's 2, the Mets 1. In the dugouts, Yogi Berra on the left, Dick Williams on the right. It's tense here in Oakland. We are in the top of the 8th inning. Oakland has a new center fielder, Vic Davalillo. Williams has Raleigh fingers on, and he's pitching to Willie Mays, and the first pitch is over, called strike 1. Mays got a solid single to left in the first inning. He's 1 for 3 today. There's the big breaking ball. No balls, 2 strikes. When Davalillo went into center field, Reggie Jackson moved from center over to right.
That surprised you, did that, Monty? You thought they put Canigliaro in.
Billy, fine defensive center fielder. There's a call, strike 3. Raleigh fingers followed that sidearm breaking ball with a buzzing fastball over the outside corner, leaving Willie up there. But Davalillo has played some outstanding defense for Oakland. When he came over here, he was strictly being purchased as a pinch hitter for Oakland to shore up the bench. But what he has played in the outfield has really been outstanding. He has made some great plays in the playoffs. You and Tony had that great pickup he made in left center field of a line drive out there the other day. One away in the 8th. Cleon Jones is 2 for 3 today, a double and a single. He scored the Mets run. 0-1.
Fingers pitching the Mays on the last hitter, Monty, is the first time we've seen today the fingers of last year's World Series and playoff. He looked like he had his good fastball and slider.
Here's the slider. Sal Bando to Gene Tennis. And they're 2 away, and Fingers definitely is locked in right now. He has good stuff, good rhythm right now, and he's had the ball down.
The best he's looked of any inning. He's gone 2 2/3 innings of relief, allowed 2 hits, struck out 3. By the way, if the A's would hold this lead, Holtzman would be the winner. He's the pitcher of record.
He pitched 5 innings, gave up only 1 run and 4 hits. Milner is one of the few Mets who can hit the ball out of the park. Fingers has really got to work on him. Strike call. Good fastball thrown right over the top, and when he throws it like that, it sinks down and away from the left-hand batter. One ball, 1 strike. Darrell Knowles starts throwing in the Oakland bullpen again. This 3rd or 4th time he's been up.
They'll want him in case of the left-handed batter.
Base hit, right field. There was the curveball, and Raleigh got it up. Milner singled, and that brings up Grody.
You see, Fingers, he was mad at himself. He turned his back to the plate and threw his hands up. Why did I make that pitch?
Here comes someone else out to ask that same question. His name is Wes Stock, who incidentally was a minor league pitching coach for the Mets the year they won the World Series. So he knows this ball club pretty well. He took over as the A's pitching coach this year, and it wasn't a bad takeover. He ended up with 3 20-game winners, and Catfish Hunter a candidate for the Cy Young Award.
You know, Monty, every time we see a left-handed batter up here for the Mets, they're hitting Fingers hard.
2 out, a man on. Grody the batter. Oakland leading 2-1. It's late. We're in the 8th inning. The Mets have out-hit Oakland today, 7-3. The A's wired their 3 hits together in the 3rd inning with a Met error for the 2 runs. 0-1. Curtin, did the Mets run very much? How about Milner? You see they don't steal very many bases.
They stole the fewest bases. Only 27 bases during the year. They ranked 11th. The Pirates were last in stolen bases, only 23. They'll play some hit and run.
It would be a different situation against some clubs in late innings of a 2-1 game. Fly ball off first. Out in no man's land. Dick Green is after it. So's Tennis. Tennis picks it off right in front of Green's head. Very fine play by Gene Tennis, who's converted to become an outstanding first baseman this year.
Ordinarily, this would be the second baseman's ball. Green coming over as quickly as he could, but with a right-handed hitter, he had to go a little bit farther. I don't think he could have gotten it had Tennis not.
The score, 2-1, Oakland.
And now a program note. Dom DeLuise demands to know about his mother's secret romance on Monday's episode of Lots of Luck. The comedy continues later on Monday Night at the Movies. And Brian Keith and Doris Day star in the hit movie comedy With 6 You Get Egg Roll, right here on NBC. There's 5 with Egg Roll, and here we are now in the last of the 8th inning. We're waiting to see if Raleigh Fingers is going to come out and bat. He's scheduled to lead off in the last of the 8th, and defense right now is the difference in this game. Felix Millan, who made only 9 errors all year, let one go through his legs that led to 2 unearned runs for the A's in the 3rd inning, and those 2 unearned runs have been it. The A's leading 2-1, and Fingers gets a hand from the hometown Oakland fans.
Curtis, at one time in his career, has hit one out of a ballpark. He had a home run down in Texas last year. This will be the 2nd time he has hit this year. And McGraw starts him off with that screwball. Strike 1.
McGraw's looked very sharp.
Mets in the top of the ninth will have the bottom of their batting order up. That's a ball, 1-1.
You talked about Bud Harrelson being busy. He's had 9 chances today, 4 putouts, 5 assists, and the World Series record is 13 in a 9-inning game.
Raleigh had a pretty good cut right then. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And you go back to 1917 to George Weaver of the White Sox, who had 13 chances. Harrelson's had 9 today.
And handled them perfectly. Back to the Hummer, and he missed outside with it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Mets have 1 run, 7 hits. The A's 2 runs, 3 hits. Raleigh swinging late, fouls it off into the second deck here at the Coliseum.
Monty, the Mets, aren't supposed to be much of a hitting ball club, but they outscored Cincinnati 28 runs to 7 in those 5 playoff games. They've out-hit the A's today.
Screwball, and did he have Raleigh fooled or not? Way out on the front foot. Fingers strikes out. There's 1 away. Boy, there are a lot of pitchers throwing that, and I don't know why it is, but it seems that most pitchers who throw it are left-handers. In the American League, there are a lot of them throwing it now. Here's Raleigh Fingers, or Bert Campaneris to follow Fingers. McGraw can bend one the other way. That's a curveball coming in to Campaneris, and it's high for ball 1. Screwball, and
we talk about the screwball all the time. You just rotate the wrist the opposite way, and a left-handed pitcher throwing to a right-handed batter, the ball will come in and break away, down and away. The curveball breaks into the right-hander.
And it's the change of speed on the pitch that makes it effective about as much as how it breaks. It really doesn't usually break all that much, anything like a curveball, but it's the change of speed, too. Campy bunts to the first baseman. Too close to the line. He tries to slide under him. And the first base umpire and the home base umpire are saying who's going to call it. Nobody's called it yet. Campy apparently got under the tag and made it to first base. Yogi Berra's out to argue about it. Marty Springstead, the plate umpire. Augie Donatelli, the first base umpire. Campanera slid under the tag, it looked like. And the question was, did he go out of the base running path, or did he stay in it? Well, that's a typical Bert Campaneris play. He was beaten badly, 30 feet from the bag, and just slid right under the first baseman.
Here are a couple different angles on this. Now, there's Milner. He's still in the 3-foot lane, and Milner appeared to miss him as he shot right by him. Watch him go by him. As he just accelerates there, the slide is under, and Milner missed him, trying to tag him on the back. That's the angle that you see and we see, that he appeared to miss him, and Campaneris is safe at first. Here's another angle now. As Milner reached for him and came down, he definitely missed him.
Fantastic play by Campaneris, and as it turns out, some real heads-up umpiring. Donatelli waited until he called that play, until he saw what Springstead said about whether or not he ran out of the baseline. Here's Joe Rudy, but McGraw drives Campaneris back in. Kurt, what kind of move does McGraw have?
Pretty fair.
Campaneris gets a hit on that bunt, by the way. There's a good move. He took his foot off the rubber and threw sidearm. He never did drop down to the stretch position.
Campaneris stole second in the third. With 1 out, the A's leading 2-1. Another run would be big for them.
He faked the throw, but didn't throw, and it was not a balk because he had his foot off the rubber. So Campy's seen both of McGraw's moves now.
Rudy can hit behind that runner, can't he, Monty?
Good right field hitter and a good power hitter to the opposite way. Campy was faked back into first that time.
Of course, a man like Campaneris puts that extra heat on the pitcher. McGraw's got to think about keeping him close. Think about the plate.
This crowd has been kind of quiet up until Campaneris gets. He turns the crowd on when he gets up there. They call him the Roadrunner here in Oakland, and they flash beep beep signs a lot of time when he's on. Rudy got a fastball then, and that's one reason Rudy likes batting second. Behind Campaneris, he does get a lot more fastballs to swing at because that pitcher wants the catcher to get the ball in a hurry. But during the season, Kurt, Billy North was the A's leadoff man there most of the year, and Campaneris batted second. Oh, what a bunt. Rudy throws out Joe Rudy, and the A's are playing for one more here with one out.
This Grote's a good defensive catcher. They really got out there in a hurry.
Ball almost stuck on the bat of Rudy's that time. It was so soft. Now with a left-handed batter coming up next, Sal Bando batting here. Yogi Berra is going out of the dugout to talk as to whether to pitch to Bando, which leads you to believe that maybe Joe Rudy was batting on his bunting on his own there, Kurt.
Might have been. Reggie Jackson scheduled up behind Bando. The A's ahead 2-1 in the last of the 8th, and you Met fans looking to the 9th. Don Hahn, Bud Harrelson, and McGraw, the bottom of the order, the scheduled batters.
Find out in a hurry. If Grote stands up and holds his hand out, they're going to walk him.
You think he's used to the World Series competition?
I don't think there's any question why he didn't seem to be too nervous today before the game. They're going to walk Bando. Well, this is percentage baseball because Sal Bando has been the hottest hitter Oakland has had. He and Joe Rudy for the last, well, Rudy for 2 weeks and Bando for a month. And with the left-hander McGraw to pitch to the left-hand batting Jackson. Though they're bringing up the leading home run hitter in the American League, they're bringing up a man who hits for a higher average against right-handers than left-handers by far.
Jackson's going to be due sometime. He was 3 for 21 in a playoff. He's 0 for 2 today, but he's up against a rough left-hander right now.
And Kurt, don't be surprised to see Jackson try to go to left field here. He will do that with a man in scoring position a lot of times. And they're playing him deep out there and straight away. All 3 outfielders in the normal position. Ground ball right at the second baseman. The percentage play work beyond throws Jackson out as he did try to pull the ball. And after 8 innings of play in Oakland, the score is the A's 2, the Mets 1. The preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball. Pinch hitter now for the Mets in the top of the 9th inning, Ed Kranepool, who had an outstanding playoff series for the Mets. He'll go against Raleigh Fingers, who came on in relief of Ken Holtzman. Holtzman pitched the first 5 innings and very effectively, allowing only 4 hits and 1 run. Out in the Oakland bullpen, the backup crew of Darrell Knowles and Horacio Pena. The Mets have 3 outs left. They trail by 1 run. Kranepool played in 100 games for the Mets this year. Had 1 home run, had a .239 batting average. And here we go in the 9th. Line drive right to Campaneris, and I'll tell you, the A's have had a lot of line drives hit right at them today.
The Mets have hit in tough luck. They've hit the ball harder than the A's all afternoon. By the way, they're down to just 2 left-handed hitters now. One may not be available, Rusty Staub. The other one is Martinez and Hodges. 3.
Fosse and Bando having a little conference. Bud Harrelson is due to bat, and we're going to have a pinch hitter.
You see Staub down there. Rusty Staub's out.
Also Ron Hodges. I believe it'll be Hodges to bat first or Harrelson.
And that'll be it for their left-handers unless Martinez comes up and he's a switch hitter.
Hodges played in 45 games for the Mets this year at 33 base hits. 1 home run, 18 runs batted in. They're going over the scouting report again right here.
Monty, just checking our scorecards. In the 7th, Garrett hit a wicked shot into a double play. Then Meehan lined to short. And here in the 9th, Kranepool is lined to short. Grody lined to center in the 4th. Some days they drop in, other days you hit them right at somebody.
Ron Hodges, the batter now for the Mets. He's a catcher. Franklin County, Virginia. Fingers starts him off with a fastball inside and low. 1 ball, no strikes. The Mets are going to have one last shot at it with their number 1 man, Rusty Staub, who's left on deck. Ball 2. And depending on what Rollie Fingers can do with Hodges might depend upon what Rusty Staub does. Strike in the outside corner. Here's a look from our portable camera. Roving around right behind home plate now. You see Staub and over his shoulder the batter, and Ray Fosse giving the sign for this pitch with a 2-1 count. Ball 3, Fingers. Kurt, you remember the 7th game of the World Series last year? A tense moment in the 9th inning. Rollie hit a batter, Darrell Cheney, to keep that suspense going and allowed Pete Rose to come up and bat one more time for Cincinnati, but then he got him out.
Flight out to Rudy.
He is at 3 balls and 1 strike on Hodges. Ball 4, he walked him, and that's going to bring up Rusty Staub. And if he could hit one out, it would be the ball game lead for the New York Mets, and they're going to have a runner.
Teddy Martinez.
Teddy Martinez is going to run for Hodges. That's the first man Fingers has walked in the game. Staub batting.
Wonder Williams thinking as Berra looks on. Normally he might bring a left-hander in, but he's probably, well, here he is, wondering how bad Staub's shoulder is.
He was waiting to make sure that Staub was announced as the pinch hitter. He is now. This is the 2nd trip to the mound by an A's representative out of the dugout in this inning, so Rollie Fingers is automatically out. This rule was not invoked for the World Series last year, but it is for this one. Now, there's a break in the action here in Oakland. The scores, the A's 2 and the Mets 1.
You saw Dick Williams move to the home plate umpire. Was he announced? Is he in the game? Staub? Yes. He's brought in Darrell Knowles, and now Yogi Berra removes Staub and is going to go with a right-handed pinch hitter, Jim Beecham.
Darrell Knowles has never pitched in a World Series game. Last year, right before the American League Championship Playoff Series, Darrell, while batting, hit a ball to left field, and as he watched it fall into left field, he started running to first base and fell down and broke his thumb on his pitching hand. The score here is the A's 2 and the Mets 1. Jim Beecham is the batter, and the attendance here today, 46,021. Beecham on the season hitting .279 for the Mets. As a pinch hitter, 9 hits and 34 at-bats. He's from Grove, Oklahoma. Darrell Knowles, in this situation, might have been brought in to hold Martinez close as well as to pitch. Strike call. Knowles appeared in 52 games for Oakland this year, 5 of the times as a starter. Won 6, lost 8, had 9 saves. 1 ball, 1 strike. Knowles doesn't throw a screwball as such, but he throws a turned over fastball. He throws it hard, and that's his double play pitch to right-handed batters. From behind first base, you can see what it looks like to see Darrell Knowles. There's his pickoff move, which is one of the best in the American League. Little looper. Dick Crane, sensational play. Can't get it back to first, but what a well-timed jump that turned out to be.
And I think after he caught the ball, he wanted to throw, but he was off balance, and he was afraid to throw it away. Then he made another shot at first. Watch him. Green has been very steady today. He's a short man, but he had perfect timing on that. He handled the double play ball in the seventh off the bat of Garrett. That was a wicked shot to him. Charlie Finley, the owner of the A's, the sole owner of the team now, knows his club is 1 out away from capturing game 1.
Boy, we have seen some plays by the infielders here today, and that was one of the best. Here now is Wayne Garrett. 0 for 4 today. He's hit into 2 double plays. NBC statistician Alan Roth and our production stage manager Jim O'Gorman today. Our thanks to them for their great help.
This, of course, here you are. You're in the 9th inning, 2 down. And the game is slowed down by this band coming out for personal attention.
Same thing happened here the other day, Kurt, with Catfish Hunter pitching that sensational game in the 9th inning. He had his concentration zeroed in on the Baltimore players, and all of a sudden fans started climbing on top of the walls in the outfield, and it really broke his concentration, and you have to recycle to get going again. So now Darrell Knowles will work on Garrett. Martinez the runner at first. High foul ball out of play. Garrett had a pretty good cut at that one, and he has some power. Knowles got that ball higher than he wanted to get it to Garrett. 2-1, Oakland leading. They have led since the 3rd inning of the game.
If the A's get out of this one, they'll be breathing big sighs of relief down there in their locker room.
Tony Kubek is on the field. He'll be interviewing one of the players after the game. Fly ball right field. This could be it. Reggie Jackson coming in. He's there. He's got it. And the A's win the first game of the 1973 World Series, setting off the Finley fireworks.
And I'd have to say it was defense for the A's today. The error by Felix Millan cost the Mets the ball game in the 3rd inning. He'd made only 9 errors all year. He let a ground ball go through his legs off the bat of Campaneris. It should have been the 3rd out. A run came in to score, then Rudy singled, and both A's runs were unearned as they win it 2-1. We'll be back. Tony Kubek will be interviewing some of the stars. We'll have more of a recap right after this message. All right, let's quickly go down to Tony Kubek.
All right, with me with the manager of the Oakland A's, though still the world's champion, winner of this first ball game, being congratulated by Charlie Finley. Charlie, congratulations. You got another one under your belt. Good to see you looking so good.
Thank you very much.
You got a good man here, don't you? Dick, you had to make a decision in this ball game. You didn't have many decisions like it all year long. A 2-1 ball game. Holtzman, no designated hitter in the World Series. You took him out.
Well, Ken hit the double and had to run hard and slide hard in the second. And then the ball that got through Millan on the next hitter, he had to run real hard all the way home. And, of course, we got another run after Campy steals second and Rudy gets the base hit, but it took a little steam out of him. He went 11 innings 4 days ago. He only had 3 days rest. And prior to that, he had missed. We let him bypass 1 turn because he had thrown more innings this year, Tony, than he had all year in his previous career in 1 year. So he was a little tired. He got the victory, a well-deserved victory for him. A great relief job by Rollie Fingers and Darrell Knowles. So we're just quite pleased to get off on the right foot.
You know, it's difficult from up where we are, Dick, being so far away from home plate, but it did not appear, even though it was a low-scoring ball game, that the pitchers were particularly sharp until McGraw came in, then Rollie seemed to have a good inning.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Matlack, even though he got the loss on it, both runs were unearned, he's very, very tough. I was proud of all 3 of my pitchers. Mr. McGraw, I have caught his act before. I think there's going to be a low-scoring series. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I think games will be like this, and anything can happen. We'll probably be back here next Sunday also.
Did you find anything out about the Mets in today's ball game that you didn't know before?
No, not really, because we know they battle, and they'll come back even harder tomorrow. This is why they won their division. I think they're a super team with a super manager, and it's our privilege to be playing against them in the World Series.
We'll take you to tomorrow's ball game, Vida Blue. What about Vida?
Vida has been just great all year long, and he's geared for it. We haven't been keeping charts ever since we cinched our divisional title, but he kept a chart today for his own information to go along with the other information we have, Tony, so we know he's interested also.
Dick Williams, good to get that first one in your home ballpark under your belt. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Our thanks to Dick Williams. Let's go back upstairs.
You can see that Dick Williams is being very cautious about underrating the Mets. Again, the final score, 2-1 Oakland. In a moment, we'll continue to review the action of today's game.